Hey, what is up, Headhunters and executive recruiters? This is your favorite headhunters and boxers talking smack. Welcome to our very last show of the year, our Christmas special. For those of
Oh,
you who watch
our holiday special. Please get with the liberal program.
oh no, this is also the Hanukkah special. It's Hanukkah special,
All right.
Kwanzaa special, Christmas special. All right, all the specials. None of that holiday special crap. We're going straight for the holidays.
I'm all for a Merry Christmas, brother. Although I'm a Jew, I'm for Merry Christmas.
And I'll tell you what, those of you who watch South Park, you'll get the reference. Anyway, that said, we have a special guest on today, the one and only Donnie Gupton, and of course, my beautiful co-host Neil Lebovitz. Welcome, everybody.
Wow,
thank you, guys.
Sweet,
thank you.
Merry Chanukah, Merry Christmas.
Merry Chanukah.
Happy holiday.
Right?
I gotta say, I'm terribly intimidated by the Kris Kringlehood of the two of you with the beard game you guys got going on. This is what I got every week. You guys have game, man. How does facial hair come out like that of the two of you? And you, Donnie, look like Grizzly Adams like a week ago. I saw online, right? 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, I have a really interesting relationship with my facial hair. You know, it's something that I struggle with every week on what I'm really going to do with it. But I think I came out of the womb like this. I mean, I could grow this thing overnight. So yeah, it creates a challenge on what I really want to do with it.
No, can you? If you are totally clean shaven, how much do you have the next day?
Oh, I'll have stubble the next day. I could have a whole nice lined up groomed beard by the following week if I wanted to.
Wow.
So, I don't struggle with growth.
But now what I noticed is that so now if anybody lifts. Donnie, do you lift? Do you work out?
Yep.
All right. So have you noticed that the longer your beard gets, your lifts go up automatically? Like sometimes every quarter inch of beard, I get about a 10% boost on my deadlift, my squats, and my clean and jerk. I mean, it's just like it's consistent across the board. It's amazing.
Oh yeah, it's the grown man strength.
When I grow this little piece here, it's absolutely amazing the power that my body harnesses with this. It's yeah.
So that is the that is the artist in Brooklyn sort of soul patch.
Right. Yeah.
I used to have a soul patch back in the day, back when they were cool. I don't think they were over there actually, were they?
I'm like a Shaggy from Scooby Doo. Oh, Roo.
So now, by the way, for everybody watching this, unfortunately, and we'll talk with Creed in a second. By the way, guys, just so you guys know, for those who are just joining us, the first few minutes is a little bit of banter, but we will be talking about some digital marketing strategies that you can go home, and implement for your 2021 comeback. So we're going to get right into that here in a second. But first, let's rag on Neil for not wearing his damn Christmas hat.
I don't have one. I got a Harry. I've got a Hanukkah Harry. A Hanukkah Harry yarmulke is what I got.
Get it? Like you got to wear it. Come on, man.
I'm going to say this. Thank goodness I don't actually have a yarmulke in the house, so that doesn't really make me Jew, right? Any Jew has a yarmulke. They always have their bar mitzvah yarmulke like 80 years later. So and it's stamped on the inside.
Standard issue for Jews, right? Standard issue, the yarmulke.
Yeah. And I don't have one. I should, but I pretty much date chickses, and my ex was Catholic. My kids are Catholic, so I'm not embarrassed of Judaism to my Jew friends out there. Nothing to be embarrassed about. But I used to. My wife is ex-wife, of course. She was Jewish by injection, is what we like to say. But I don't want to go there. So.
Well, speaking of that, that's dirty. But my fiance Elisa, so we have our baby Izzy. So Elisa her mother's Jewish, so in passing the female line, so it makes Elisa Jewish, which actually makes my daughter Jewish. So they're the chosen.
Wow.
People. Unfortunately, I'm a dirty Gentile, so I'm not in the club being a dirty Gentile and all that. But Lisa and Izzy, yeah, they're chosen.
How do you move your anti-Semitism? How do you push that aside?
It's very hard. It's a struggle every day. I have to come to grips inside, and it's tough. It's hard, but we all have to grow, right, and become better people.
I feel out of the loop because I don't have any Jewish connections. I don't have any kids with mom's the Jewish connection. I've got nothing like that. So
Do you know any? Where do you live, Donnie?
I live in California. I know plenty of Jewish people.
Oh, what part of California? Oh, of course you do. California for sure.
Yeah, in the Bay Area.
Oh yeah. Ample Jew. Jew.
We've got everything here. You will come to the Bay Area, you can get a sample size of anything you want. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
All right, so Don, let me ask you. So you're living in the Bay Area. I'm curious. Your commissar comrades in the government there. Now, are they allowing the proletariat to come out of their hovels at this point, or is everything still locked down according to the
total shutdown? Total
shutdown right now. No outdoor dining, no anything. You can go to Home Depot and Costco and all those big places and stuff like that, of course. But yeah, there's nothing. The restaurants have been completely shut back down. And,
screw small business, man. To get the small business out of here, man. We need to get these large corporations all the money.
Shall we play a game?
Yeah.
Total nuclear warfare.
See, so for those of you who don't know, I'm in Florida. So Neil's in Jersey. I'm in Florida. In Florida, there are no lockdowns.
Because you got the waterfall back. Yeah, that waterfall's gorgeous. That has been raining a lot there, David.
Oh yeah, I had this installed the other day. Like it's custom built here in Florida, right? Of course I'm a little cold. And
the rainforest that you brought out there is amazing. Like that's amazing that you built the rainforest there.
Isn't that pretty cool?
Business is going well. Business is good.
This is good. And I said, if you're see, and funny thing is actually we're looking to buy another house, and the house market here is crazy because everybody's moving here because it's a free state. So you can operate a business in very few places now in America.
Dude, Jersey too, man. Jersey too. From everyone moving out from COVID in New York, it's crazy. New York's a steal, and Jersey, it's the craziest market Jersey's seen. Like it's just nuts.
Yeah, I just bought a house back in July in the middle of all this, and there's like no inventory out here as much as people are really running out of California. But the housing market in general, it's a great time to sell. I don't know about, the buying market's a little bit interesting right now. That's for sure.
Always crazy there. Always crazy. It's insane.
Yeah.
We have some comments here. Kwanzaa.
We mentioned Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
There's Kwanzaa. In fact, if anybody will watch a Futurama, you have Kwanzaa bot, and then you have the Santa bot, whatever his name is. Remember that? Yeah, Kwanzaa bot, Santa bot, and he had I don't know. That's a Futurama reference. And it was Donnie.
What's that?
Donnie Gupton. Well, it's about Donnie Gupton, right? So, so some of our audience may not know of Donnie Gupton, or probably know of him. Probably seen your ads around here. And of course, you and I have been in the same circles now for a few years, both in the training space. And so, tell us a bit about you, man. What about you? What you do? Who you do it for? And just bring these recruiters up to speed.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So, first off, thank you guys for having me. Hanging with two legends here today. So, basically what I do is I'm just helping recruiters with their digital presence, learning how to leverage online marketing, turning that effort into, actual lead generations, more warmer phone calls, and just, focus on more of a modern approach as a whole. So, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Basically the person I'm usually working with is a established recruiter. So one thing, I'm not a recruiter. I don't know how to recruit. So if you are looking for recruiting training, I'm not your guy. If you're looking to grow your business, with marketing, I can definitely help you.
Wait, so let me ask you this, and with all respect to our audience, it's not the most generous audience. They're not. They don't part with their money like a lot of other industries. Why do you pick recruiters to do? Like, how did that come about? Tell us that story.
Yeah, so it was like a complete accident. Honestly, I was, I ran a business with my pops for a while, actually in the floor covering industry here in the Bay Area. And back in 2008, when the recession hit, we were like a lot of companies. We were just trying to hang on, right? We were just trying to survive, and that was kind of when YouTube started becoming popular and Facebook and all these social media platforms. So I just kind of went all in on that for my family's business. And I started a YouTube channel, and I modeled after Gary Vee. Gary Vee had Wine Library TV, if you guys have been following him since the beginning. So I started Flooring My Life TV. And, if you guys, first off, you want to see a little inspiration of how you can make it, go watch that. It's absolutely terrible videos. But, basically that was kind of my start in the whole digital space. And then once we came out of the recession, we were, under $1 million company going in, we were over a $6 million company coming out of it. And so I realized that I had a skill, for online marketing and lead generation. And so I wanted to go help people. That's always been my passion, is coaching. And so naturally I went kind of more towards home improvement. And then I started helping a buddy who was in an executive group I was a part of that owned a staffing agency out here. And that just kind of exposed me to the industry. And I saw, for the most part, that what was out there was a lot of people were just kind of teaching the same, Me Too tactics that have been taught in the industry years and years. And so I just felt like there was an opportunity for me to go play here, and started out doing it with people and trial and error and figuring out what I call the relevant recruiter method now. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of been my my path to the industry. So now that's all I do. That's kind of a complete stumble.
Do people give you grief over it? Because when I left staffing and recruiting, I was in it for 20 years, 25 years, and I became a trainer, and I stopped recruiting, except for I would still do 3-4 deals like on retainer from people, but I stopped recruiting. And
right.
People, oh, you can't train. You're losing touch. I was in it for 25 years. You must get grief from some people, right? So what do you know? Blah, blah.
Oh, all the time. Pretty much every single one. You go look at one of my ads, there's always somebody on there talking shit. So, I learned a while ago that the ones that get a vote are the ones that are my clients. The rest of that, I'm going to have hate from everywhere. And I think that's something that doesn't matter what your angle, what your business is. There's always something that somebody has something to say, but I don't try to bullshit anybody. I mean, I am who I am, and I service where I service. I'm not going to, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, can you help me with, how to recruit and how to talk to people and, do the nitty gritty of that part, I'm not your guy. I don't try to pretend to be something I'm not. So my area of focus is very, very, clear in what I'm trying to play. So
it's how you position yourself. I mean, one of the things I talk about, and of course we all have different names for it, but I like to talk about flashing the badge. When you're on a sales call, like a demo call or whatever it is, and at certain points you have to flash your badge, like a police officer with the badge, say, hey, listen to me, I've got authority. And so when you do that, because most recruiters, when they get on a sales call, somebody, they're puppy dogs. They may have the best marketing collateral in the world, and super sharp, but they get on the line like they're a little puppy dog, happy to get the job board, and it just kind of ruins it. So you have to flash the badge, like, hey, here's why, we're an authority, and so much the same way like you, Donnie, right? So for me, and I can say I've got experience with the industry, but at the same time, like a recruiter, maybe a brand new recruiter can't say that. Maybe they can't say they were a CFO. Right. So they lean on other things like the firm or maybe their own track record. So, for example, just because a recruiter has not been a CFO, but they have a strong 10-year track record of recruiting CFOs, just because they weren't a CFO in a past life does not mean they can't go find you a great CFO.
No, but it's the old fake it till you make it, like Danny Cahill used to say, right? Fake it till you make it.
100%. That's something for me for over the years is just being able to kind of work through, I think that if in year one, you can say whatever you want. In year 3, 4 now, I mean, how long do I need to be in a place to prove that I'm a part of the industry? I don't view myself as being an outsider anymore. But yeah, in year 1, I think I had tons of imposter syndrome, which I think everybody in their life goes through if they're really focused on putting themselves out there. So, but yeah, you got to embrace the journey. You got to start somewhere.
Well, you know what it is, man. It's like it's like anything else. I think is the having the intestinal fortitude to jump in with both feet and do it and go through the sales calls where people are saying that and work through those, still get clients, get a track record. Because and you may have noticed this, Donnie. I certainly noticed it when I got into the training space that people would talk shit about me, and then it just kind of just stopped.
Right.
Once you're relatively established, did you notice a significant drop off at a certain point where just kind of you still get it maybe, but it really just kind of stops?
Yeah, 100%. I think that at a certain point, and I think what really stops is the voice in your own head kind of slows down a little bit too, right? Because I think you're playing with what people are saying and then playing with how much you're magnifying that. And then I think eventually it all just kind of like, all right, people are going to say what they say. And I think, like I said, one of my coaches told me one day when I was like a couple of years back and struggling with people talking shit and stuff like that, like, hey man, the only ones that get a vote are the ones that are paying you. Outside of that, then,
That's a good point.
But we've talked about this almost every week. That's how pervasive it is with almost every guest. Right? Yep. We get into the hate talk.
Yep.
For me, when I first came out, I had people I had I was a little bit, not my flamboyant, but very kind of in your face a bit when I first came out, because that's just my personality. Who knew? And I get people that would be, I had a thread on a Facebook ad that I ran when I first came out, and I saw all these comments, people making fun of my shoulders because I was moving my shoulders a lot for some reason in the video, and and funny, I remember a lot of those names, and a lot of those people are now in the Herc. So I kind of
Oh,
remember.
do you call anyone out on it?
What?
You calling anyone out on it?
Nah, I'm not gonna be like a weenie like that. But it's kind of funny because I got called out a lot, But I think it keeps a lot of people from going out there putting out a video or putting out content because they're afraid of getting called out. But at the end of the day, those people don't matter. Just
Yeah.
don't matter.
But you know what? So I think it's also like I understand it more than I get angry at it. Not that people go out of their way, but in the recruiting business, we really do have to kiss ass so much to so many people. And we deal with, I think, a pretty hostile audience when you're dealing with, especially if you have to go through human resources. Then we're dealing with people as a product where like at least you're spared that in every other business, right? You're going to sell your widgets. I got widgets or your air conditioner, your cars. And so it's hard. So there's lots of people giving it to you. And who else are you going to give it to? Your spouse, your parent, your family, or you're going to give it to people selling it, which is why we always joke about the recruiters making fun of the financial analysts or the financial wealth advisors selling. God forbid they sell to them, right?
Right.
Funny.
Yeah, I think
I say take it. Well, sorry, I always say this. I say take it out on your kids. If you're gonna take it on anybody,
absolutely,
the best are the emotional ones on the inside because they last forever.
But they don't let you beat them anymore. That's illegal now. When I grew up, your parents could beat you. They could give me, and they didn't. I'm gonna say this: my parents never did. My cousins that beat the crap out of them, beat the crap out of the kids in front of us. Like you were able to do that.
I never did. I'm not a believer in hitting kids. To be honest, candid with you, I'm not.
Me neither.
I think it's kind of the easy way out. But I think I've had good kids, so maybe I don't know. But that's
I
let
do
me
not
ask you
beat kids.
Now, speaking about putting yourself out there, I'm about to play something here. So, Donnie, I'm sure you're very happy to hear this, but I happen to find a video online that is I think you'll love. I think our audience will love something about pet odor. Here we go.
Let's be honest for a minute, can we? When you walk into your house, does it smell like dog or cat? Does it smell like piss? Do you feel like you can never get the smell or the stains to completely go away? Your friends come over and you wonder, can they smell that too? Guess what? They can. But I know you don't want to be that person. Hey, I'm Donnie Gupton. In this video, I'm going to show you some flooring products that perform great for pets so you don't have to be that person.
And all right, so you want to watch the rest of that? I was on the edge of my seat during that thing. Yeah. So somebody wants to watch the rest of that video, go check out. Was it My Flooring
Where did
TV?
you find that?
Flooring My Life TV.
There you go. Yeah. So there you go, Chris. That's again the Christmas special. That's what we do here at the Headhunters and Boxing Talks.
That's so good.
Make you think, because I wonder if people could say pets, and you know what? You're right. They probably can. And I need you to do something about that, and fast. And I want really.
Well, how do you make flooring entertaining? Is that right there, right? How do you captivate an audience for flooring and start talking about their pet odor and their piss in their house? Right. But the thing, the thing that's funny about that, even though I joke about it, and that's why I say it should be inspiration for people, because as bad as some of those videos were, and that was kind of when I got good producing and stuff, but as bad as some of those videos were, those videos are still making money for my dad's business today. I haven't shot a video for his business in 5 years, but YouTube still puts it out there. They're ranked, and I can still go into his showroom. And a couple of weeks ago, I went into a showroom like, oh, you're the guy from the videos. So the point is like when you get good content and it goes out there, like it works forever. It's just the willingness to put it out there and do it.
Well, okay. So let's talk about this. So let's give these recruiters who are watching the show some tips. So when it comes to content, so obviously this is something that you're a specialist in, is it, helping recruiters go out there and putting themselves out there. So let me ask you this before we get into how to do it. What types of content what should a recruiter do in terms of their content strategy to start making themselves a bit more well known and kind of got to go down that path?
Well, I think it's kind of starts with authenticity and value. I think that's the biggest thing is kind of leading with that. And then I think one of the biggest things that gets people to move and react is tapping into pains and problems. That really helps you get people to move the needle. And I think one of the biggest things that's confused about content is people think content, they think of marketing, they think of how they're going to write a really good how-to section or why work with me section. And marketing is not really, I mean, of course you got to promote and you got to have an offer and things like that. But when you're leading with that all the time, the market really doesn't care about you.
But is your thing authenticity like on podcasts, on video, on your email? Like what's the angle?
I think in all areas, I think that, I'm a believer that however you show up and put yourself out there, needs to be congruent with who you are. I think there's obviously different settings that require different levels of professionalism, of course. But, one of the things that's helped for me is like, I just stopped listening to how everybody told me to show up. And I just started showing up like Donnie shows up. And, I have more of when I'm on my videos and do my content, I'm much more of a laid back kind of personality. But, I'm a big believer in abundance and the fact that, here we are, Dave and I are basically direct competitors to one another, but we both know that there's enough in the marketplace that people are going to gravitate towards him that like him and people are going to gravitate towards me that like me. And so, I think that's the biggest thing is just being you. And the more you can do that, then the more you actually, that's laws of attraction. Attracting people.
And you should be you using the digitalheadhunter.com now available. On your
and also about authenticity. So I want to add on to that here as well. I was going to say piggyback, but I say that all the time on the show. I'm really trying to get out of that. It's my New Year's resolution, including fire Neil. But anyway,
if Danny Cahill comes over, I know I'm toast in a second. If you were to approach you, admit it, David. If you were to come and say, "Listen, I want to do the show with you next year," how quickly am I gone? Be honest.
I'm just kidding. I would never do that. But that said, it's our show, man. But that said, when it comes to authenticity, the other thing that I like to bring up, because a lot of people they hear authenticity and they don't know what it means, or they have this sort of view of like, I don't know, my more casual or my like authenticity could simply mean this. Like, so for example, when I first started putting out videos for the SAP Recruiter for the Kinetic Group, and this is geared towards SAP executives and directors, VPs, et cetera, right? I started talking about things that no one else is talking about that were kind of controversial. So for example, hey, and for folks in the Herc have heard this a million times now, but I use a lot things like this about how your SAP recruiter is cheating on you, right? Why? Well, here's how the searches actually work. When your best candidate that your SAP recruiter just sent you, they probably sent that to 3 or 4 or 5 more because that's how we're trained to do it in contingency. It's the name of the game. Did you know that? Like I started really being kind of a little visceral in my videos and talking about things that other people weren't, because a lot of people don't want to piss off the marketer, don't want to seem unprofessional. And that actually got me a ton of traction because I wasn't really doing it. That's another example of being authentic. It's like,
again, we say this so many shows that the professional angle is boring and people don't, you're a dime a dozen. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying to be unprofessional, right? Like, again, I think we had to tone the show down a bit in the beginning, right? But it's boring. No one wants to just go right in a bit, and it's just that's how I was taught, right? That's what we were all taught in the beginning. It's nuts to me. It's nuts to me.
Well, when you think about it, they say they talk about giving value, right? It's always value, and then I think people also misunderstand this. To Donnie's point, putting out value is not writing a how-to article. Like there's a million of those out there.
Yeah,
but it's slightly entertaining. Like I always say, making somebody chuckle is a little piece of value. Right. So in your email sequence, for example, let's say you're doing top of mind emails and you're staying in front of people. Every email doesn't have to be a piece of value. It could be a Dilbert cartoon. Hey, I just saw this, thought it was funny. I shared it with my team. And if your team has a sense of humor, you might want to share it with them too. Here you go. Make them chuckle. And that's a little piece of, that's a good feeling.
Yep.
It doesn't really have to be.
We're probably getting off track, but any small talk like that. I talk about that on a lot of the shows. Anyone that's ever had me quote unquote sell to them will know that we might go 15 minutes of pure banter and talk. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like I'm selling with almost. If I get someone, I mean, you get those that want to get right to the point. But again, just being myself, I always find something to goof around with the person, even if they're serious. Everyone likes to laugh. Everyone has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, so sorry, Donnie, back to you because I'm really curious over how you do it.
Yeah. Well, I think that, one of the things is like, what is content for? Like, why are we doing this effort? Well, it's really to build a connection with your audience. So yeah, just like to both your guys' points, sometimes that connection can be humor, sometimes it can be value, and it's definitely, I think where the biggest thing is missed is on the whole how-to thing. It's really the what and the why is where, in my opinion, where you want to be playing the game, right, with your content and getting people to have those types of epiphanies. And I think going back to what David's point was, let me piggyback on that there, David, is going back into, like you're saying, hey, the thing with the SAP recruiter, I call it like putting a flag in the ground. Like, hey, this is my stance. And where most people play with marketing is like soft, is they don't want to be, they don't want to be ruffle any feathers. And I always use like Donald Trump as the example. I'm not saying, hate him or love him. What is his opinion on the wall? Well, his opinion on the wall is we need a wall. So what happens is part of his audience goes, hell no, Donald, I don't want a wall. And the other part of his audience goes, yeah, let's build that thing. That's marketing, really. And that's, in my opinion, that's really, I'm not saying Donald Trump or anything, but like, that's where if you really want to have like an impact, it's being able to say, it'd be like me saying, hey, cold calling is really, really great. Like, do I know that cold calling can work? Absolutely. It's been a tried and true thing. But with my marketing, I'm not going to sit here and go, yeah, it's okay. It's cool too. It's like, no, boom, it stinks. It's all about automated lead generation.
But what's your market? So how do you, what's your first angle with a client to get this lead automation?
Well, it has to start with the positioning of the company and the business, right? And try to find some ways that you can stand out and differentiate. If not, you're just another piece of the noise in the marketplace. And I think that's one of the biggest problems with something is that people, they don't take that step, and then they go hire some marketing agency to do something for them, but they don't even know who they're trying to be and who they're trying to be for yet. And if you don't have that figured out, with the digital world, you have no chance. And I think that's one of the biggest things. There's the opportunity is like when everything was happening, traditionally in the industry over the phone, is like you can tailor your message to whoever you're on the phone with. But when you start to build a presence and you want somebody to connect with that message, you really need to be speaking to an audience. And that's where it's hard to kind of stay as a generalist, if you will, because then you're starting to speak to everybody, but it's not hitting home with very many people, right? So that's just kind of my thing is like you have to start with the basic foundation of who you're trying to be and for who. So
and just start with like drip campaigns and email campaigns and a sort of strategic messaging there. Is it the website? Is it scripting? What's your if someone's hiring you, how are you coming at them?
LinkedIn is one of the places that we usually start, and then we go from LinkedIn into trying to just build a pipeline. And one thing we don't, I think with a lot of stuff that's out there, people think of LinkedIn and they take what they've experienced, which is somebody basically connecting with them, and the first thing they try to do is try to transact and have business. Knowing that, I think the opportunity is to play a little bit more of a longer game, and again, I'm just trying to connect and build relationships. And that's one of the things that my philosophy is about is like, I'm not trying to help somebody transact more. I'm helping somebody build a brand, build relationships that can turn into partnerships with their business. So they're not just getting stuff thrown around, or they're just, hey, yeah, you can have this search, but 15 other recruiters are already working on it. Good luck, so.
And speaking of LinkedIn, by the way, and you mentioned it, that the deal where somebody connects you and they start selling you right away. There's there's a balance, right? Because at the end of the day, you also can't just be the super social person who feel comfortable with selling. And a lot of people actually, and I will say for a lot of recruiters, their BD strategy is, to the relationship, right? Build those relationships. You make friends with your clients, but then they don't really sell. They're waiting for the orders to come in for their clients, which is a bad way to do it. And the way I look at, because I think they don't really believe in what they do. Because if you really believed in it, man, you get people on board. But when LinkedIn, when you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn, it's almost like at a when you're at a work conference, or you go to a work conference, you meet somebody new, you don't go shake their hand and start pitching them right away. You're like, hey, how you doing? This is Dave. Hey, great to meet you. Anything I can do for you, please let me know.
Yeah, it's bizarre. It's bizarre. It's a great analogy.
But then you're not going to like never sell the person. At some point, you got to like, hey, I'm curious. What are you doing about this? Exactly what I saw here. Is that something that, so you got to be able, be social, but at the same time, you got to be willing to pull a trigger and like sell at some.
Unless you're from India and you have RPO where you could save them 20% to 50% on the recruiting, and you have a 13-paragraph email template, that works great. That works amazingly.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. It's not. I think the biggest thing is don't lead with the ask. You have to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. But you can't lead with that. And I'm not saying that I mean, obviously there's 15 different ways to slice this thing here, right? And there's a lot of them that work, but again, I think that playing it a little bit longer, and especially as you see people, you have to follow the trend, right? 5 years ago, being on LinkedIn was like you were new. Now, being on LinkedIn, welcome to being a part of the party that's been going on. But now, my opinion is knowing that, well, most people are just trying to take a very quick transactional, just trying to win. So how do I stand out when the marketplace is like, well, shoot, I'm getting messages all day long. I just don't want to be another one of those people. Well, cool. Then,
or I find they do the opposite, right?
Well, you still get the messages, but here's the thing: people have this like really narrow view of LinkedIn as like, okay, I'm going to go, message, and which is great for your great part of your strategy. But when you look at your presence, so for example, let's say you have Sales Navigator, right? I've got Sales Navigator Team Edition for me and for all my team. So we can each save about 5,000 leads. We save the leads. We have the news feed, the Sales Navigator news feed, and I'm going out there and I'm because now my marketer actually is a recruiter. So my Kinetic guys, they still work on the SAP side, but now I've kind of shifted over to recruiters. So I've got my leads that I'm in the process of reaching out to and trying to get booked into demos. I'm out there commenting, liking on their stuff. I mean, it's so because it's like they see me comment like, oh, hey, great share, Bob, whatever, and they see me there, and it's a touch, right? It's or they see content. It's a touch. It's all a touch. It makes your marketing more effective.
Well, yeah, and I think that's where, if you look at a good LinkedIn campaign on the messaging side, you're probably going to get a 5 or 10% response. So what about the rest of the 90, right? And I think that's kind of the next thing that I go into is like, well, I just call it like stocking a pond, right? So if you're building and you're connecting with people on LinkedIn, they should be your ideal market. You're basically stocking a pond of fish. And you think about your average company that we both work with, how many clients do they need a year? People kind of think about these millions and millions of people. It's like, hey, look, if you can just stay top of mind to like your top 1,000, you can probably make a fortune.
Right, Doug, but I find the opposite. So either people go in and they sell immediately with DSPs, or they're putting out all this content where there's no sale in there. There's like I like just because you're putting out content, to like where's the you said the why factor, the what, and the where is that? And I'm shocked at how much is on LinkedIn that is just because they're live or they have a video on there or an article. Where's the sell? So much.
Well, I think that there's, and this is where content gets confused, right? As people look at content and they think of engagement, I can tell you firsthand, people I've had conversations with, they get way more engagement with me than I do ever, but they don't have the revenue to follow. And so that's the thing that people need to understand. Is like some people don't want to, they think of content. They go, oh, well, I don't have a bunch of likes or comments and shares. And of course, you want to try for that because that helps get more views. But I'd rather find a post that has 100 views on it that can get somebody to take action than I've done stuff that has 100,000 views. That's kind of just a tactic, to get engagement. Right. And so that's the balance. Just like you're saying, Neil, is like people are out there and they're posting stuff and there's 300 likes and 127 comments, but it's like a feel good story.
Right. What are they? They're not tweens. Like my daughter on TikTok, she's 14. She got 50-something million views. I'm like, all right, let me take a look at this. Sure enough, it's her and her friend in tight t-shirts. I'm like, what? Like this is, what are you going to get with these views? But they look that nonstop with the views.
There's a reason why I renamed the show Heartthrobs and Boxers. I mean, come on, you got to compete. Real quick, I do want to say this. So Michael Kellerman, the animal, posted. He's starting to stir stuff up. Does Dave mean that he's always kissing ass and flattering people, really engage them in a debate? Okay, let me. I will say this. I don't like to kiss ass. For many of you know me, I don't suffer fools, but I always give the benefit of the doubt. So here's my strategy I'm not saying anybody should do it. This is just my personal strategy. So I engage. I'm always, hey, so super friendly, whatever, right? If anybody is an a-hole to me in my marketing, I'm an a-hole right back. And it probably
Really, you do, huh? Well, give me an example. I don't
suffer that shit because, like, for example,
really.
I had a guy. So my marketing, right? I had a guy respond back, and he said that what do you say? So this is for my marketing services. We're doing some outbound now, and he responds back and says, and obviously not the her doesn't probably know me, which is fine. He says, I've taken 3 companies, or I sold 3 startup companies or something like that, whatever. I don't need anybody to advise me in my profession. Like, what a dick. And I'm like, you got like less than 5 years in the recruiting staffing role. Okay, you're like, yeah, you're an expert. And I had a nice little reply back for him, but because I'm not going to kiss ass now. Someone's going to be a dick.
Well, why? But that's not kissing ass. What do you get out of that? Like, I want to, DSP. I want to, but there's nothing but short-term mental satisfaction. That do I need that from this dick?
Well,
when only negative could come from that, what good's going to come from that?
Here's
why?
Here's what good comes from it. So a couple things. So once in a while, those things will turn around, which is pretty interesting, right? They'll turn back around because they realize that, because they usually what people do is to salespeople, they're like, but you get away, right? Right. And so lots of times they get kind of a smoke screen, and you like, hold on a second there, pal. Right, you flash my badge. So in that, some of those have turned around, but when they don't, there's a couple things. I'm not gonna do business with them anyway, most likely. Secondly, it makes me feel good because I like doing it.
Right, it makes you feel good. But what did you say to this one? No, but I think that's what it is. It makes you feel good, But so what, right? Like, I know.
The other part of it is as well is, look, what's the alternative? Am I going like, I'm so sorry. I should have.
No, don't reply.
I'm not.
But what did you say to him? What was your reply? Like, what you say?
Yeah, so basically, wasn't like too much of a dig back. I said, I took a look at your LinkedIn profile. I'm not seeing a lot of startups. It was something along those lines. I'm like, all right.
Sometimes, I'm like, yeah, why don't you stop eating all those Fritos, you fat mother f?
So
those are fun ones.
I respond back in kind typically. But what I found, though, a lot of times, if you have that attitude of, all right, so if we're to dial it back a little bit, right, and say, let's say we're not going to be dick, but let's say when you message people on LinkedIn or email, whatever, you're doing your thing, and what do people do? A lot of times, give they like either thumbs up or like no, or actually even worse, they say no thanks, like and they just give one of these, and so most recruiters will then slink back. Oh, sorry, sir. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's my information. If you ever need anything, please let me know. Like so for me, I like to brush it aside and go again. So for example, if I'm emailing and maybe I say, hey Bob, it's from a recruiting standpoint. Let's say, hey Bob, here's what I'm finding out there in the marketplace. Here's some frustrations I see. Are you seeing that right now? I'm trying to get involved in the conversation. And they respond back with, not in kind, they respond back with no thanks, or we don't use recruiters, or something like that. Like it's not an answer to the question. And in fact, it's incongruent, right? So I respond with, oh yeah. Anyway, for example, we don't use recruiters. Didn't think you did. Anyway, and I restate the question. And oftentimes they answer, right? It's like the way I describe it is kind of like I've used the analogy before, but say Donnie's a good-looking man with a strong beard. Let's say he's at a bar waiting for his wife, and his wife isn't there, but she'll be there in 5 minutes. Turns to a girl next to him because he's a friendly guy. He's whatever. He's like, hey, how you doing? And first thing she says is, oh, I've got a boyfriend. Now, if he then said, oh, sorry, ma'am, my mistake, that tells her, he was trying to get my best. As opposed to, oh, yeah, whatever. I'm sorry. I'm waiting for my wife. She'll be here in 5 minutes. I'm just making conversation. I'm sorry. She's going to feel bad and say, oh, sorry. So it's a defense mechanism. And so what I found a lot of times, you brush that shit aside, you go back in again.
Yep.
Those objections peel away.
I mean, is this sales stuff, or is this? I think some therapy might be in order. Now, this is my family or therapist. I'm thinking there might be some anger issues underneath there, because I have no trouble blowing it off for the better of not, like, screw them, and I feel actually good when I don't reply. Like they had all this anger, and they go out of their way to reply to my email, and I ignore their ass, and I know it bothers them. I know it bothers them.
Honestly, I think you should still brush past smoking objections. I think that's general for everybody. You should do that. I'm not saying do what I do in terms of when I have my smart ass replies. That's just my personality, and I tend to bow up pretty easily with the middle finger.
Right. Well, look at you two.
You have a good opportunity to, going back into like the comments thing though too, is like if you spin them right, you actually can attract more people by how you handle that comment or the objection. And get people to come to you. So sometimes if you look at it, it's an opportunity. Sometimes on my stuff when I have a hater, I'll click and delete and ignore. But there's other times where I feel like if it's somebody just talking some general shit, but if somebody's trying to slam my character, then I'm definitely going to be having something to say there. But I think it's a big time opportunity. What's that?
We will not let this stand. All right. I think we got the news coming up. Hold on a second. I think we got wait a minute. Here we go. Come on, news. Production value though.
This is next level.
Oh, this is amazing production value. And then again, I normally come in with the December 18th, 2020, the latest news and at Christmas time. We had a crazy blizzard going on anyway, so we normally start with that stuff. But our production value has gone up massively.
That's a beautiful thing,
to be honest with you. All right, so here's a good one for recruiting. A good poll. There are a lot of polls coming out this week. There's not great news in terms of jobless claims and that stuff over the last 2 weeks, so we're not going to go there. We're going to keep the Christmas season lovely. So another poll by our friends over at Robert Half polled thousands of people. 2/3 of senior managers at U.S. companies, 67% actually, report that their company will be offering year-end bonuses. What do we think of that? And about half of them say they're going to be bigger than last year. And the other half say they'll be about the same. So that's a big number, 67%. What do we think of that?
I think that's huge. I think there's a lot of opportunity. I think this is, what this whole, crisis has put everybody into is, it's putting these companies into a place to, they have a real opportunity to really show how they care about their employees even more than they ever have in the past. And if they're smart, I think they would be doing something like that. So that's good to hear.
Yeah,
It's also impressive to hear.
Well, and as a recruiter, I look at this as a trainer and say, this is a question I would be asking everyone I'm on the phone with recruiting over the next couple of weeks and into January. Like, how was your bonus? Did you get a bonus? How'd that go? And when you get that third, I didn't get a bonus because of COVID, point them to this article. Well, I got news for you. 2/3 of people are getting bonuses and half of those people are getting bigger bonuses. I think that's an amazing recruiting tool to stir that wound, and to try to get another angle to get them out. That's how I see it.
Mm-hmm. I agree. In fact, a good lesson in recruiting, by the way, is when you leave a job, what you always run from a pain, right? You're not necessarily going to get more money from a place that underpays you, undervalues you. I think the more recruiters understand those reasons why people leave, the better your recruiting game will be. You always look for the wound. If you don't have a wound, that's placement is probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And I'll say what's good too with the wound is a lot of people don't know it, because in a separate survey, half the employees polled expected a bonus. So half expected, 2/3 are going to get one. So I think it's a norm, 50-50 chance, obviously. Someone that you talk to is like, I didn't get a bonus. Wow, shocked. I'm really happy. And the other people, again, stir that wound. I think it's huge. So anyway, that's why I want to bring that one up. We'll like this one. This is, we talk about these all the time, but this one just came out on December 15th. This was by the famous contracting company Upwork, nearly 1/4 of U.S. workforce will continue to work remotely by 2025. Right? 1,000 hiring managers, 22% of Americans, 36.2 million workers in just a few short years are going to work remotely. And that's up almost 90% from pre-pandemic. And that's a futuristic view. Go.
Oh, I love it. I tell you what, for all those times, I had a client I had a client, great client, Tamco Building Products in Joplin, Missouri, right? So they're on SAP, small SAP shop, but they used me for years. Great client. It was a yearly billing. They were paying at the time 30%. It was awesome client, right? But everybody had that came to the company had to move to Joplin, Missouri, which is, a little podunk town outside of Springfield. And so I'm looking, I'm not, actively recruiting anymore. My guys are, but I know that, as a recruiter, if you have those small town clients, it's awesome being able to now have a legit case for, hey, you need to start letting these folks work remotely, because I'll tell you, that was a great company, great client, but trying to recruit for small town USA can be pretty tough.
Yeah, I would say, first off, if you're not leveraging Upwork or Fiverr or onlinejobs.ph, there's a huge opportunity out there because there's great talent to be found at a usually an affordable rate. But I think this is just going to be a part of the shift that we're seeing from, the results of this. I think it's going to create more freedom for people to be able to create their own, dream, if you will.
You want to hear something interesting? There was an interview on the news, and take a guess at what industry is hit almost the hardest. And I don't mean live events, okay? And it's so obvious, but it blew my mind. And picture people, the difference from when you work at home to work. Like what's something that's going to be dramatically affected besides commercial real estate and stuff like that, which hasn't taken the hit yet? Any idea? It's no. So fascinating. Dry cleaning. And think about it, because it's like they went through the whole thing. They're decimated. They're like, even on Zoom, people wear a shirt, no pants. So that's half the items right there. They're not doing it every day. They're wearing the same 2 or 3 over like 2 weeks. There's no suits. They're not in the office where they're going to drop the stuff off. Evidently, they think the industry is going to never be the same again, with so many dry cleaners going out of business for good.
Does that mean that George and Wheezy had their deluxe apartment in the sky?
Well, they were moving on up them, but I think they might not.
Poor George, poor Wheezy.
Florida might be out of work. You know what I mean? Florida's gonna be history. Yeah, that's what I think.
Florida, no.
Florida was the name. That was the name of the maid. Florida.
But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to. In fact, my whole team right now is remote. I do everything remote. I've got 10 people now, I think, something like that. 10 people, all remote.
Me too.
In the U.S.
Do you find that with the remote, and I find such a bigger connection with people, with my clients, prospects, sales calls, because we Zoom. Half of my calls are Zoom.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wear this on a Zoom call. They wear this on a Zoom call. My hoity-toity client, where everyone would normally be all tense and business-like, is wearing a sweatshirt and a ponytail and a baseball hat on backwards. And I find it amazing. Like, I love it. I love that I will broadcast like this and not look like a fool or unprofessional. I think, to me, it's been such a great thing. Have you guys felt that at all, or is that just a me?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if you're a recruiter and you're setting up sales meetings and you're not pushing for Zoom every single time, you're missing a huge opportunity. Because think about this, right? So you set up a call, and of course assume that's gonna be phone. Instead, assume it's Zoom, because they're all doing Zoom anyway. So just send them the Zoom link. Oh, and they're like, oh, I guess it's Zoom. Okay. Because then you're on Zoom, you can talk, there's body language, and you can, hey, Bob, let me show you something. Let me share my screen and show you exactly what we do for our clients. And you have a couple decks pulled up, or like a client lander, or something that really makes you shine. Every other recruiter you're competing against is being rinky dink, a romper house.
You don't have to plan it. You don't have to plan it.
Huge opportunity for differentiation.
Yeah, it's huge,
Yeah.
huge. If you're not doing that, you're missing a huge opportunity. Sorry, but yeah, it has brought me closer to clients and everybody else.
I think going back into what Neil was saying is like you kind of have going back a step when it comes to putting content out there. You know, it's like right now is the best time to do it because there's so much grace in the world around you. You don't have to have this perfect production because everybody expects you to be working from home and expects you to be doing something that's a little bit low key and casual. Shoot, if you're thinking about putting yourself out there and you've got a little bit of nerves around it, now's the time to do it because you're going to get all the grace in the world.
Just don't pull a Jeffrey Tubin.
Yeah.
Oh God, I was thinking that too. I was totally thinking that. That's funny.
Oh yeah. For those of you who don't know, Jeffrey Tubin was a journalist, I believe.
Yeah.
He got caught doing something he shouldn't have on a Zoom meeting, and like a Zoom meeting with staff, and then there was a break, and during that break, I think got on a different call, started doing something, and didn't realize that he was still broadcasting on his other camera.
But
and,
how old is he? Anyway, he was old, right? He was like in his 50s or something.
50s, I think, maybe 60s.
Like, God bless him. Who has that energy anymore? I would kill them want to have that energy. You know what I mean? Like, it's the last thing on my mind in the middle of a Zoom call. I know, ladies, I'm available. All right.
Oh man,
good stuff.
All right, last story.
Here we go.
All right, this is another survey.
Last story of the year. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it is the last story of the year. Why are there so many songs about rain? Okay. 76% of employees experiencing burnout. More than 3/4 of U.S. employees, 76%, they're experiencing burnout. The COVID-19 pandemic, along with major political upheavals and natural disasters, such as wildfires and hurricanes, have led to a higher level of depression, anxiety, and stress for U.S. employees, leading to burnout. I got thoughts on that, gentlemen.
They're probably not doing something they love. I mean, I work harder than most people I know, and you know, in fact, I made the comparison. I think a week or two ago. You know, if you walk into Michelangelo and he's painting, and you're like, Michelangelo, what about your work-life balance, man? Take some time off the weekend. And Michelangelo's like, dude, I'm doing my art. This isn't work. If you're doing your art in your life, then I think the burnout just goes away. You know,
you think 76% don't feel that? You think that's true? I mean, and is it caused by the political stuff that's causing burnout? The wildfires and hurricanes causing burnout? I find that all convenient. It's not convenient. That's what I don't know.
People are on edge. You know, people are on edge because of the election. People are on edge because of the everything's politicized, and it's like a tribal warfare here nowadays. And then you got the COVID thing with this, you know. And look, at the end of the day, I'm glad we cured the flu, but this COVID, I think the worst pandemic plague in human history, right? From what they say, but I think people are just stressed out about it.
Yep.
And I think that contributes to the burnout, you know, because
57% of U.S. workers say COVID-19 has been a contributing factor. 33% political issues have contributed. 36% say it increase in responsibilities at work, and 23% cited insufficient paid time off. Which, you know.
Well, what do you? I think it's what are you consuming, right? I mean, are you somebody that's if you're somebody that's consuming all of this information all of the time, then you're going to be put into a depression. Where if you're focused on actually being on the creative side of things, then there's opportunity to express yourselves differently. But I think if you're constantly consuming negative news and you're gonna it's easy to get into a depression with everything that's been running.
That's such a great point. Such a great point. I mean, it's such a great point. I was taught that really early on in my career. Yeah.
Question. I know we're about to end, but we have a question from Alex Mann here, and I want to just really briefly cover this one because it's actually a really good question, timely. Are you still getting new contracts during the Christmas time? And are new clients still wanting to hire right now? what issues a hiring managers face right now. First off, obviously things slow down quite a bit, but yes, I mean, doesn't mean you don't go out there market. In fact, this is a great time to go out and get on people's calendars because they're kind of winding down or less busy. That said, things do slow down. Many companies aren't necessarily hiring like right now. Some are, but you know, you still get new contracts. You still get new clients. It's one of the best times in the world to go out there and market your wares, 100%. And as far as what they're facing right now, what frustrations they're facing, one of the biggest ones I see for hiring managers is a sense of uncertainty coming into the next year, right? Because they've got their budget that's likely been cut a little bit, you know, on all performance. They got a team. They're like, are you guys, you know, maybe they work remote, they worried about COVID, they're making sure that things are kind of going. So there's a lot of uncharted waters. And I think if you approach hiring managers in the market and with the understanding, like meet them where they're at emotionally, understanding that there's a lot of uncertainty and talk about that and be open about it, it'll set you apart from other recruiters that are basically, hey, got any recs for me today? And that might open up some conversations. So that's some of the issues I see hiring managers facing. Is that like that?
Did you find a big spike on the third day of Hanukkah like I did?
You know what Hanukkah is?
When that shamus was melting down, I felt the surge of the phone ran. But anyway, that's all I got for today, David. I think we're out of time, my brother.
Well, I will do this. So I'm gonna play this real quick. I did like a half of 12 days of Salesmas last year. Didn't really finish. I'm actually gonna do it again this year, but I'm gonna do all 12 starting Christmas Day all the way through the 12 days of Salesmas.
All right, so let's sign off now then, and the video will end it. How's that?
There we go. So that's kind of a little preview video. I'm doing the 12 days of Salesmas starting Christmas, and it'll be awesome. It's gonna be live in the group. It's not paid. I'm just gonna do it. And then also, anybody who's looking to get involved in Accelerator or Tactical, we're doing 2020 pricing for 2021. Is a year-long program now. So get in if you want to get a price off the link down below. And then of course, obviously, Neil, is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yeah, well, it's a great time to move your to boss or them from your back office. Of the year, every reason in the world to do it. I won't go into it now, but talk to me for sure.
Talk to him and talk to me, Goose. All right, so Donnie, what do you have to promote, sir? How can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, first off, head over to, if you're not a part of the Relevant Recruiter Facebook group, feel free to join us over there. We're doing similar things in there as you got going on the Herc here. And connect with me on LinkedIn. You know, in terms of promotion, I'm just running a Christmas special right now, trying to get people in and get dialed in for 2021. So I feel like now is the best time to invest in yourself and hit the ground running.
And get on this year's books too, right?
Yep.
And write that stuff off. So yeah, same here, Christmas special. And I'll tell you what, I will say this. Donnie and I, you're relatively direct competitors. In fact, we've actually shared some clients. It's interestingly enough,
yep.
You know. But you know, I will say this: I don't typically like recommend direct competitors, but there's a few exceptions. Donnie being one, Terry and Drew Edwards being another. You know, there's some folks that are in my circle that I really value as friends, as colleagues, even as friendly competitors, because they're good. They're good people. I had and I will say this, and I'm going to go long, but I do have a real quick story. I had in doing my outbound reach outs for my company, I had somebody reach out, and even though I'm not as active on the SAP side, I've got recruiters doing that now. This woman had responded. And she said, and very defensive, like, why would you want to connect with me or with a competitor? And it was weird, and it took me aback because I usually don't get that. Of course, she wasn't really a competitor. She's doing some other sorts of other IT work. But, you know, that's such a limiting viewpoint.
100%. You know?
Yeah. 100%. So anyway, I just want to tell the story. So
Merry
one of the few
I appreciate that, Dave.
To everyone, a happy holiday. God bless. See y'all on the first Friday of January. Happy
Crazy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Merry Christmas.
Hey, thank you guys for letting me hang with you guys today. I appreciate it. That was fun.
Yeah, good fun.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. And we will see you in 2021. And we can say to 2020. How about that? Bye, everybody.
I love it.